Hello. I don't usually spend much time doing a greeting, but I realized I should probably do that from time to time. Since I don't know you, it's kind of hard to greet you, but I hope that things are well for you and yours, and I know you have other things to think about besides these videos and besides preparedness, and you have a busy life and a lot of responsibilities and things that need your attention. So I appreciate the time that you spend um, with me, I guess. I guess. I didn't check my smile to see if it was straight or not. I don't look like I had another tooth ripped out of my face today, but I did. Feels pretty good at the moment. I had a feeling it wasn't going to go real smooth, and it wasn't real smooth, but it's over. You know you have a problem when you're on a first name sister basis with your uh, dentist's office people and the dental assistant. When she hugs you and tells you she loves you when you leave, you know you got way too close to your dentist staff. You need to do more for your teeth somehow, but I need to do more for my teeth. Enough of that. Hello. Hello. Um, the rules of rotation could be summed up like this. There are no hard and fast rules. And then I could quit this video and we could be done. But having said that, there are some general guidelines, and I'm just going to go over them briefly. Some things last forever and some things don't. You have two categories of food: those that basically last forever and those that basically don't. I have been victim of the ones that don't last forever. The wonderful thing about fruit trees and grapevines and berry bushes is that they come back and give you more every year, pretty much every year, unless you have reason they're not giving you fruit. We lost all of our apples. There was some local thing going on here. I can't remember what it was called, but the apples got to I think smaller than a ping pong ball, and then in the whole area, and everybody's apples dropped off their trees. I don't know what it was, but it was loaded with apples until they fell off the tree. At any rate, so your berry bushes and grapevines and your strawberry plants and your fruit trees are there for season after season. Having said that, it was just too obvious for words. Let's start with the things that last practically forever. In my estimation, white sugar lasts a long time because I've been using white sugar that's 20 plus years old, and it's totally fine, and it wasn't even sealed up airtight. So sugar is one that lasts a long time. One of the reasons that wheat is an ideal storage food, if you can figure out how to use it in a way that works for your family, is because the nutrition in a grain of wheat stays intact. And there's three portions to each grain. You have the bran, which is the outside protection of this. It's basically a grass seed. Wheat is basically a grass seed. Wheat is, I don't know a lot about it. I know a little bit about it, so bear with me. Wheat is in the grass family, and in our locality, they plant it at the end of the summer. It grows to maybe, I don't know, 4, 6, 8 inches tall, maybe not even, before the fall slows it down and the winter stops it. And it comes back in the spring just like the grass does in your front yard. And then it grows until the tops of the wheat stalks have seeds in them surrounded by chaff, and then they turn from green to a little more gold, a little more gold. And then when they turn so gold that you can almost see a blackish cast over the top of it, which is right around July 12th in our region, then it's ready to harvest. At least this wheat, the soft white wheat they grow in my region, is ready to harvest about the 12th of July. It has nothing to do with anything, but wheat is a grass. You have the wheat kernel is surrounded by chaff, and somehow the machinery separates the wheat from the chaff, and the wheat goes one way and the chaff goes the other way. They used to do it by, I think they called it winnowing in the past, where they had like a fabric plate that they would, somehow they crushed I don't know how they did that. Somehow they crushed the ends of the stalks so that the wheat and the chaff were loose from one another, and then they would throw it all up in the air, and the wind would blow the chaff away, if I understood that correctly. Somebody might want to correct me, but at any rate, wheat, back to wheat. There's not going to be enough time in this video for the rest of it. The wheat is a seed, so it's loaded full of nutrition. The wheat kernel is a seed, so if you plant it, it will grow into another wheat stalk, which will have somewhere over 19 grains, probably quite a few more than that. But the one I counted, I stopped by the side of the road and got one and counted it. It had 19 grains of wheat in that particular stalk. So at any rate, having said that, wheat is a grass. It has a seed when it comes to fruition in our locality around July. Then what was I going to say? Anyways, it produces seed at the top of the stalk. That's the part you eat. It has once you separate it from the chaff, or the machinery separates it, then you have the outside of the wheat kernel, which is the germ. Oh no, what do you call that? Oh, somebody help me. The bran. The outside of the wheat kernel is the bran, and that's the part that's the fiber that's good for you. And then there's the energy part of the seed that gives it the energy to make a new plant when it's planted, and that's the endosperm. And then the germ has the oil in it. And so all the way it's packaged neatly in that little seed, it retains the nutrition, which I had read someplace that wheat has over 400 different nutrients, not all of which have even been identified, or that there were more that weren't identified, or some such thing. I can't rephrase that very well. But it lasts a very long time, and they found grains of wheat. I think I mentioned this on another video in Egyptian tombs, and were able to sprout it, and they even came up with a new, I'm sure I've mentioned this before, a new grain which was called kamut, I think, K-A-M-U-T, which some people can eat that cannot eat wheat. So the wheat lasts a very, very long time, older than the Egyptian mummies, so lots and lots and lots of years. The sugar lasts for a very long time. And then if you go into the categories of either home canned food or store-bought canned food, commercially canned food, those are going to be best used within a year or two, kept at steady temperatures, but people have reported much, much longer satisfactory results. I have a lot of stuff in my basement that I canned that was once good that does not look good anymore, and it needs to go. So there is a limit to how long you can keep wet pack canned foods, either home canned or commercially canned. The next group, dry foods, depends a lot on what kind of dry food it is, and those are best used within a year or two. Things like pancake mix, or cake mixes, or muffin mixes, or potato flakes, potato pearls. A 1 to 2 year range on those is pretty standard. If it has a high oil content, it may be shorter, maybe longer. I reported on another video that I had complete brownie mix, add water only, that I used that was 9 years old. It was totally fine. I'm now using dry egg that is more than about 12 years old, and it's just fine. And I have a big box of it that's sealed. The guy from the company told me that he knew for sure that it would be good for 5 years, even if it wasn't nitrogen packed. If it was just kept in a 50-pound block, he knew for sure that it should be good for 5 years, kept at a decent temperature, reasonable temperature. So let's see, dry foods, where were we? Year 2, basically. Some could last much longer than that. I personally don't throw things out until I have something better to replace it with, or I try it. Again, the scare with the pancake mix, you can read that on Snopes, SNOPES.com. There were some very extreme conditions in that circumstance. So I would have no problem using pancake mix kept in a decent dry environment for a year or two. That's me personally. Like I said, I use 9-year-old brownie mix, so that's up to you. I have a good supply of things that I'm not letting go of until I have something better to replace it with. So we did the things that keep a very long time, and I might think of a couple of those more in a minute. And then the home canned and the commercially canned foods, and then the dry mixes, and what else. Then there's a whole other category of items that are packaged with oxygen absorbers. And somebody asked recently, I felt like a total fool. I'm so sorry. Somebody asked recently, what is a number 10 can? I just take it for granted that people are familiar with all these terms. So if there's anything else that you're not familiar with, just please ask and I'll try to get to that. But not that I'm gonna do all be all end all. I'm not. Number 10 can is about the size of a gallon. It holds roughly 14 cups of food. Whether you put your food in a number 10 can, which also protects it from light, or sorry, I'm here just a second. Forgive me, my screensaver went on. That's all. I know we're going to run out of time. What time is it? Oh yes, we're over 10 minutes. I was still here. I'm going to try to finish this up. Whether you put your food in a number 10 can with an oxygen absorber, which also protects it from light, or you put it in a canning jar with an oxygen absorber, or you put it in a Mylar bag with an oxygen absorber, and you put that Mylar bag in a bucket or not with an oxygen absorber in the Mylar bag, foil pouch, I also call them foil pouches sometimes, or you put it in a 2-liter pop bottle and protect it from light and put an oxygen absorber in that. Dry food, we're talking totally, excuse me, I gotta itch my nose, totally dry food. That, if it's kept from extreme temperatures, kept away from direct light, and so on and so forth, it should be good anywhere from, well, let's just say up to 30 years and beyond. It may be good for 10, it may be good for 25, it may be good for 30. If you're storing grains that way and they were in good condition and dry enough when they went into storage, they should last longer than you will. Truthfully, should last longer than you will. So there are some variables. Those oxygen absorbers are like a gift from God. They do awesome, magnificent things. If you don't want the quantity, like you don't want a number 10 can of cheese powder, you don't want a number 10 can of egg powder, you can try to get those things in bulk and you can package them in pint jars with an oxygen absorber and a canning jar lids. I'm talking about canning jars with lids, regular lids, and ring bands. And you can remove the ring band after the jar seals. You should make sure the jar is sealed, and that way you know that the oxygen absorber did its job. So if you can get those things in bulk, or even get them in a number 10 can, and you can always repackage them into pint-sized jars or quart-sized jars or half pint-sized jars. For some things you might want those. My voice is really bad. I'm terribly sorry. Some days it's good and some days it's not. You don't want to hear the rest of that story. So anyway, the rules of rotation depend on an awful lot of things. There are the foods that last forever, pretty much, and the foods that do not. And so I have been, unfortunately, someone who didn't keep all the rules of rotation, and I'm paying the price for it now. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I was going to say on this topic. Shelf life, shelf life, shelf life. I will just say again, my husband's not entirely pleased with this, but I just can't let go of some of my canned goods and things until I have something better to replace it with, because some of it still looks decent and I'm not ready to open the cabbage soup right now and eat it. But if I didn't have any vegetables for a long period of time, it still looks pretty good. I would boil it for 5 minutes in an open container to destroy any tox or any like botulism in it, if there was any in it, and then I would have cabbage soup. So some of the stuff I just can't let go of yet. I'm sure I'll think of more to say and probably make another video. So that's fair warning. You've been warned. I might be making another video, but that's the general. Thought I would put it all in one place. I'm going to end this because I'm running out of time. Bless you all. Goodbye.